do that. You can't go there. Don't you realize you're blind? You'll fall if you go alone. What's wrong with you? When I say you can't, I mean you can't. You're blind and that's the end. Yes, these are the lines that I've always heard, that I have grown up hearing since my childhood. But these lines are not only being heard by me, but by the numerous blind people across Kerala, India, and the entire world. I was born into a military family with extremely overprotective parents who did everything for me during my childhood. How easy, right? One doesn't have to lift a finger. They did everything for me. We had help, we had everything. And they took me everywhere, to school, to the shops, to my classes, to everywhere. Isn't this a good situation? Wasn't it good? Yes, it was good at that time because I was a child and I knew no better. So it was great. But later on now, when I look back to my old situation, it wasn't that good after all. Being blind since birth, life wasn't at all easy. It was easy from the outer perspective. As people say, you had privileged parents, you had everything, and it was good. I had everything, but I could not do anything for myself. I couldn't travel alone, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. I was like locked up like a bird in a cage, not allowed to go out without a sighted escort. As my father's job was a transferable job, we kept on moving from one place to another, and I studied in different schools, and I lacked continuity in my education because every 2 years we were transferred. I would just about go to one place, settle down, get used to the place, learn the language, make friends, adapt to the school and the situation. But then what happened? We had to jump up and go to the next place. And then again after 2 years, jump up and go to the next place. Got tired of this situation. I studied in schools which were equipped for the blind and schools which were not at all ready to have a blind person. As soon as I entered the class, I could imagine the teacher because she would say, "Oh, okay, you go. Sit down in the back bench, huh?" And that was it. But I could just imagine her thoughts. I could see her mind. I could see, why does this blind child have to come and disrupt my class? She doesn't know anything. She can't learn. What's the point? Why is she here? Ah, what a nuisance. What a terrible nuisance. And if ever I stood up to ask a question, she'd say, "Oh, yes, I know you know the answer. You sit down. No need to answer." They wouldn't ask me if I understood or I didn't understand. They would just continue with the lesson in some schools. But in some schools, they paid attention to me also. I also happened to study in a few blind schools in India. In the blind school, you know what? I didn't know how to use this white cane, which I now use to travel independently. They didn't teach us. I didn't even know what this white cane was till very late in life. And another thing, you know what, in the blind school, can you believe it? We wore our clothes upside down and inside out. And the authorities were not even bothered about how we dressed. We could dress anyway. They didn't care because we were blind. And the matrons and the wardens and so many people were there in the hostel and they didn't even notice. Oh, they didn't even tell us that, "Oh, your clothes are upside down or your clothes are not proper." I mean, they just leave us. I mean, who cares? Doesn't it matter? So also thought, okay, it doesn't matter, we're blind. But I got tired again of this situation. I needed something else. I felt that there was a need for change. But I was too young at the time. I was just a child. What could I do? I couldn't go and tell the school authorities, hey, pay attention to us. No, I was too young. I didn't even know how to handle the situation. I lost my mother at the age of 12, and that too added onto my miseries. I thought, now what will I do? At least I had my mother to complain to. And as my father was in the army, he had to go to the border areas, and he was busy with his army work. So, I didn't know what to do. But then I struggled, I survived. I still studied in these different schools. I fought my battles with the authorities of the schools, and I managed. In my third year of college, there came a major turning point in my life. I met someone. Who was that? Sabria Tenberken, the co-founder of Kandari and Braille Without Borders. She is a blind lady, and she has started Braille Without Borders in Tibet. She has also started Kandari International Institute, which is in Trivandrum. She has accomplished a number of things in her life and won many awards and done so many extraordinary things. And I thought, if she can, why can't I? I'm blind too. Nothing is to stop me. I started working at Kandari, and I have also completed the Kandari training course. During the course of my tenure at Kandari, I visited many blind organizations, and I met many blind people whose situation was much worse than mine. They were in much worse conditions. They couldn't speak for themselves. They didn't know how to use a white cane. They were restricted even in their studies, in their activities, and in everything. The society is in fact still under the perception that, oh, if you're blind, you can only sing and play musical instrument. A blind person has to sing. I mean, it's natural for a blind person to sing. It was also natural in Kerala for them to beg on the streets, to sell lottery tickets in the bus or in the train, and to do only jobs of telephone operators, receptionists, data entry assistants, and now due to the development in technology, we find some blind people in companies as data entry assistants or working in call centers. But that's it. Have you ever seen in India a blind person holding the post of a manager? I don't think so. Because we don't give them that opportunity. The government or the society doesn't give them that opportunity. I felt for all these blind people. I wanted to do something for them. I felt I was the one to do something. I was fortunate to have had a good education and a good background and people to help me along. But what about these blind people whose parents are continually underestimating them? Something had to be done. A change had to be made. I went on to do my degree in special education, visual impairment. And after I finished my degree, I returned back to Kandari and I met yet another extraordinary personality, Mr. N. Krishnaswamy, the founder of Vidya Vriksha, an organization in Chennai. He was an Indian IPS officer, and in 1979 he retired. After his retirement, he dedicated the rest of his life towards the education of the blind. He is known to have devised the Universal Braille Kit, or UBK, for the blind, which consists of 8 assistive devices to facilitate the learning of Braille. He also developed the concept of a mobile blind school in Tamil Nadu. And I thought, if he can do that in Tamil Nadu, why can't we do that in Kerala? This paved the way for Jyothirgamaya Mobile Blind School in Kerala. Yes, it's the first of its kind in Kerala. Jyothirgamaya means leading to light. It's a Sanskrit word which comes from Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyothirgamaya. And I mean not leading them to light because they can't see or bringing them out of darkness, but what I mean is bringing these blind people out of the world of darkness in which they are forced to live. Their parents and the society are forcing them to be confined within the 4 walls of their houses. They are being confined only to their comfort zones. They are not allowed to come out. We at Jyothirgamaya want to bring them out of their comfort zones and give them a new insight or a new exposure into the outside world. This is what we do. We go to their houses, which are tucked away in the rural areas, and give them training. We provide them with intense training in Braille, mobility, that is the use of this white cane, daily living skills, so that they don't go dressed like clowns everywhere, and personality development skills, self-confidence, so that these blind people can hold their head up high. However, it's not practical for just me or a group of 2 or 3 of us to go to each and every house in Kerala or in India. In order to reach out to these blind people in larger numbers, we decided to conduct residential camps for them and start a small pilot project which we call Road to Independence camps. This shows the way for them to be independent. These residential camps are conducted in different districts of Kerala with the help of other organizations in those districts. We bring these blind people out of their houses. It takes a lot of coaxing. We have to convince their parents, we have to call them, we have to write to them, and we have to bring them. We provide an intense training in all the above mentioned skills. During my first camp and in the other camps I have conducted, all the participants arrived without a white cane, holding their hands of their parents or guardians or friends with a nervous look on their face. Hey, what's going to happen in this camp? What kind of a camp is this going to be? What's going to happen? I'm left my home. Mom, I don't know. But at the end of this camp, quite a few of them, I won't say all, but quite a few of them return home with a white cane in their hands and full of confidence with a bright smile on their face. This is what I want to achieve through these camps. We have one participant who has not ventured out of his house for the past 27 years. Can you believe it? 27 years. He was stuck in his house. After attending one of our camps, he started using his white cane, and he's found everywhere. Whenever I go to another blind organization for a meeting or a gathering or something, I find him there. He says, "Hello, madam. I'm here. Don't you remember me? I'm Vinod." And I say, "Yes. But how are you here? This is miles away from your home." And he says, "I have a white cane and I know mobility and there's nothing to stop me." He's everywhere. I want to see the entire Kerala like this. The entire blind population of Kerala without any hindrance to be walking like this. Wouldn't it be great if we saw all these blind people with their white canes walking on the busy roads at the rush hours, dashing to work? And wouldn't it be greater if they all all held dignified positions and not begged on the streets or sang songs, but are top leaders and managers in the government and in the private sector? Wouldn't it be great? Yes, I'm sure it would, wouldn't it? But this reality is far from its aim, from our aim. There's still a long, long, long way to go. The journey has only just started. We still have to go a long way. And Jyothirgamaya will do all in its power to achieve this aim. We stand for change, and we will always train the blind and help them to hold their heads up high. Every blind person will live a dignified life. I hope to achieve this aim during my lifetime. Thank you.